Hello everyone, odedex here, welcome to episode 141 of my Simple Let's Play. If you're not exactly sure what's going on here, probably missed the previous episode. I've created this small applied logistics, mainly crafting network to pretty much replace this entire HV solar array factory, which basically contains all the different recipes up to an HV solar array. And simply using an export bus that it's always crafting, it's always on, I basically replace this entire network that will simply create that those HV solar arrays, and it's connected to the UU matter chest. So this is pretty much a working in order thingy. Now it is working now, but still there are a couple of things that I actually would like to add to make this thing look a little bit nicer. So let me get started in actually doing that. So the first two things that I actually would like to add is monitors, item monitors, so I can track the count of solar panels, lower voltage solar panels and medium voltage solar panels as they're being crafted. So let's go ahead and do that, and also a crafting monitor to also be able to see at real time what's being crafted at that exact moment. So let's get both of them. So I'm gonna need one of those. Nope, not one of those. One, a basic processor and some cables. I will need some iron and some glass. And that's for the crafting monitor. For the actual storage monitor, I already have a crafting recipe in place, so I can just go ahead and ask for 3 monitors that will be crafted automatically. You can go ahead and craft the crafting monitor, just need one, and can store the rest. Now you can see that I have my multimeter in my inventory. It's actually something from thermal expansion, which I've made up. Basically I made it quite a long time ago, but I started using it again because I was getting tired of the fact that somewhere in my network I have something that keeps consuming energy for no explained reason, and the fact that I don't know what it is really annoyed me. So I tracked the problem, and I will get to it. Don't worry, there is a problem there. I don't know if it's intended to work that way, but I will get to that problem. It won't be now. I don't know if it will be today, but it won't be now. I really wanna finish up perfecting my new HV solar factory, so this is kind of higher in the priority list. So, actually no, I forgot a couple of things. I'm also going to need some matrices to make the storage monitors advanced and accessible. So let's get 3 of those. And by the way, you can see in the previous episode I kind of set up a system to convert coal into diamonds. And I already got about, I think, 100 diamonds, not bad. But I also added 2 more generators to run on coal, because again, I still have that excess amount of coal, and I really want to start saving up blaze rods. Like, I feel like I'm using blaze rods way too much. The number seems to be growing now slowly, but since there is a lot of processes running at the moment, basically my compressor and macerator are kind of on a constant running, like they always run. You can see that they even struggle with energy because I don't create enough energy. Yeah, so I'm kind of started using coal as well. Okay, so let's get the matrices, and that pretty much should be everything that I need. So let's go back to my HV solar factory age and do as follows. So first, let's set up the crafting monitor. So now I can always take a look at what's being crafted at the moment. Always what will be crafted will be the HV solar array, obviously. This is kind of obvious. But you can always just see the next step in line. Like right now what's being crafted is tin dust. So I think it's actually, yeah, it's waiting for 3 UU matter. The moment it will receive the 3 UU matter, it will go through the process of creating tin, and then this, and so on. It's kind of a nice way to look at everything. So that's that, but what I actually am interested in is place the 3 monitors and take these 3 types of solar panels and actually also disable the storage bus from storing them in here, because if I can access them very conveniently through here, there's really no need for them to be in a specific chest. It doesn't make any difference anymore. Let's apply the focus matrices and place the solar panels. So now I can just come here, and whenever I want, I can simply extract a specific number of solar panels that I want. Now, this is something which is basically the rules of applied logistics. Whenever you create a crafting recipe, it kind of sets, the system sets its mind on something specific that it's going to do, and it's not going to change its mind no matter what. So the best example right now is I have 9 solar panels here. Now, if that would have been the case in this factory, 9 solar panels would have been crafted into a medium solar panel. However, that's not the case with applied logistics because simply because that's not the crafting recipe it's looking to do right now. Right now it's waiting for UU matter, and for UU matter it's going to wait for coal, to create coal, and then macerate it, and so on. So it doesn't matter how many solar panels I have because it simply doesn't care. It set its mind to create like 8 of them and then only go forward the next step. But what I can do is something like this. Whenever you break something from a network, anything, the system updates. It kind of resets itself. So you can see right now I have 1225, and the recipe it's going for is waiting for UU matter for tin dust. But if I break something, if I break any cable and then replace it, then you'll see that we'll go through the process of indeed crafting medium voltage out of a low voltage one. Creating a low voltage out of a normal voltage one. Because the system realized, it resets itself and then go through the priority again, and then it realized that it does have existing solar panels available that it can craft from. So this is kind of something I would like to utilize to myself, kind of use that fact to my advantage. And what I'm going to do is kind of, I don't know how exactly to call it, kind of a backdoor solution. It's not exactly intended to be working that way, but I'm doing it on purpose, mainly because often I'm coming there, I'm going to that age and dumping a lot of iron or a lot of coal, like manually dumping stuff, and actually, if you don't make that system reset, it doesn't realize it has all that coal or all that iron available to it, and will still try to simply create it out of UU matter. And that's kind of silly. So what I can do is actually get a block breaker, also get a deployer. I think I'm going to need 1 block breaker, 1 deployer, I'm going to need a bunch of tubes. Let's go for redstone tubes actually, and some ME cables, 5 will do, and just some timer. This is an extremely simple thing to do. When you think about it, it's kind of, it's probably kind of wrong because you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. But the thing is, the solution to all of it, the result of doing something like that is basically what I'm interested in. So this is why I'm doing it. So let's just get a couple of cables running into here. Let's have a block breaker facing this way, and the deployer facing this way. Probably should have gotten some alloy wire and some jacketed wire as well. Let me get some. Okay, so now that's in place. What I'm simply going to do, as you can see, if I apply some sort of redstone signal to a block breaker, it's going to simply break the block. Now that of course updates the entire network because then the network changed. Obviously that cable has no meaning whatsoever to the entire crafting network, but it's still a part of the network. So the control block, the ME controller, realizes something is changed, it resets everything, resets all the crafting recipes, resets everything. And then again, this export bus asks for high voltage solar array, so then it goes through the process of realizing what it should do at that given moment. But since every here and then, as I've said, I'm dumping things manually or taking things out and then replacing them, what I want to do is actually the follows. So the block breaker right here will be connected to this deployer. I don't think that makes a difference, so let's... it shouldn't make any difference. You know what, I can simply use this. And what I can do is simply place a timer. Now that timer will be on a very long, so that's not very long, let's put it on every 2 minutes. It's going to deploy an ME cable and break one. It's gonna, I don't know which is going to do first, but it's going to do both as far as I'm concerned. And basically force an update to the entire crafting network. So if in the meantime I dropped all kind of excess iron or excess whatever, then the system will realize that it has all of that every 2 minutes and then kind of resets all the crafting priorities. So yeah, I kind of talked a lot about one simple feature, but I think that kind of is very useful for me. Of course, if I leave the factory completely alone and simply let it do its stuff on its own without me interrupting with it, like taking, for example, all the medium voltages out and putting them, where did they go? Oh, I didn't lock the thing. Let's lock it then. Okay, so if I take them out and place them back in, then the system doesn't realize what happened. But of course, if I leave it completely alone, then this thing isn't really necessary. But I'm gonna keep it here anyway, just because everything that I've said, because I do indeed come here here and then and actually break things and move them around. So it's kind of a useful thing. You know what? And let's actually just do that. Let's take those 5 and place them down in the world. I think I actually have enough to create an actual HV solar. Yeah, I think I do. Let's do that actually. I want to fill up back the hole manually that I've broken for my solar helmet. So let's actually store that in here. This should break any second, and it should create one HV solar array. And let's actually take it out of here. Oh, it got there before me. Oh, come on. Okay, next time then. Okay, so that's that. That's pretty much running. Now the last thing I'd like to do with this factory before completely concluding it as a working project is replace what I've got right here, which is kind of an automatic system to restock my overworld storage with electronic circuits and copper cables. And there are a couple of ways I thought about doing that. However, I think the best way for me to do that will be actually a little bit different than what I've done here, mainly because I'm using applied logistics and it's actually a lot more convenient to do. So if I look for a second at what I can actually harvest from here, or what products are actually interesting for me here, is mainly rubber and electronic circuits and copper cables. And I can maybe say gold cables as well. I'm pretty sure, yeah, everything else is kind of, I mean, HV transformers, NV transformers, I just don't use them as often, so it's not as important. And machine blocks and all of that, again, not as important, so not a big deal. Anyway, so again, let's say rubber, copper cables, electronic circuits, and golden cables. You know what? Forget golden cables. Also not as important. Rubber, electronic circuits, and copper cables. Although if I get rubber, you can say I can pass on copper cables. And if I get rubber, I can also pass on electronic circuits. What's the recipe for electronic circuit? Yeah. You know what? Then let's go just for rubber. Only rubber for the time being. I will move back to my overworld. If I want to add something, since it will be working in a very specific manner, that will be actually easy thing to implement. Okay, so let's go ahead and start doing that. So what I'm going to need will be a wireless network. I'm going to use a wireless receiver and transmitter. So I'm going to need one of each. Let's get one transmitter, one receiver. I will need a level emitter. One. Let's actually separate it. This is for the overworld. I'm going to need a level emitter and a transmitter and probably some cables, just because I'm simply going to need some cables. So let's get some of them. Okay, that's good enough. And for my HV solar factory world, I'm going to need a relay. And I'm also going to need an item tesseract to actually move things around. And I can store those things. They're not really useful anymore. And I think, oh wait, and an export bus. There you go. Okay, so right now my overall system does have some rubber, but only 372. And I'd like to have, again, let's have the same number. Okay, no, let's not go for let's not go for 64 stacks. Let's go for something lower. Let's go for like 1,000 rubber. That's good enough. So I'm gonna use this wall here as my sending method. So I'm gonna have my transmitter right here that will be transmitting on a whole new frequency. So let's go for something simple. Frequency 3. My resupply rubber. Set name. And that will have a level emitter connected to it, just like this. That will emit, let's get some rubber. That will emit a signal when it has less than 1024 rubber. Okay, just arbitrarily picking a number. Obviously 2 to the power of 10, but kind of arbitrarily. Okay, so that's that. Now, in my other age, my HV Solar Factory age, what I'm going to do is going to be as follows. So let's find a nice place to connect it. Again, let's have it kind of connected separate from everything else, since it's not really a part of the logical everything else. Let's connect it kind of from here. I want it to be visually separate, like to know this is something different than the actual crafting process. So separating it right here. That will be connected to an export bus into a relay, of course, which will be connected into the item tesseract. That will be my sorting network. It will be receiving only. And that relay will simply push things into it. This export bus will be working only with a signal, only with the redstone signal, and it will output rubber, and it will either move or craft, whatever it needs to do. And that will simply have the wireless receiver right here on my rubber resupply frequency right now, and it should start pushing out rubber. Oh wait, it should be on send only. Okay, there we go. This may have just created some okay, I don't know. Anyway, there you go. This is pretty much now pushing rubber into my overworld system, and it will craft it when it doesn't have enough. Unfortunately, I cannot go for a stack at a time. I think when I go with either craft or move. But that's good enough. I'm not going for crazy amounts of those. So yeah, that's pretty much taken care of. Now, obviously, so far I've moved both copper cables and chests, which is now pretty much no longer necessary, because now both of them I can craft in the overworld using the rubber. Rubber is pretty much the product that I hadn't been crafting. Now, the funny thing about it all is that I do have a rubber farm somewhere in my overworld, which I simply don't use. But this is kind of easier to do, because since I'm already crafting rubber here with UV matter, there is really no reason not to use it for the rest of the things. I can dump all those excess products into here. So I think with that, this HV Solar new factory is pretty much completely set. I've got access to UV matter, I've got access to cobblestone, I've got access to all the processing recipes, such as rubber, basically rubber, all the smelting recipes and all the maceration recipes, and obviously all the crafting network, and logically to always try to craft an HV solar array at any given time and keep going on and on and on into my HV solar array placement system. So that's pretty much done. Okay, so taking a quick look at my cart assembler, the one assembling my Gargoldorian drill cart. Almost 85% there, only less than 40 minutes left, so not bad at all. We'll be there very soon, hopefully by the next episode. What I'd like to do before ending this episode, although there's still quite some time going, Still some time left. I would like to actually, since lately I'm using tesseracts a lot, I'd like to integrate into my applied logistics a way to automatically craft those tesseracts. Now, so far, what I've been doing is using a magma crucible and a liquid transposer. Obviously, there are crucial parts in the creation of item tesseracts. I simply came here manually, dumped all the ender pearls, and then with liquid transposer and everything. But that is kind of it's so 2012. Like, come on. I'm going to need to integrate this into my applied logistics. So let's go ahead and start taking care of that. However, before I do that, I'd actually like to show you what was I talking about in regards to the energy networks. And you may have realized this yourself already. Where is my multimeter? Where did I place it? Actually, kind of needed to show you what I mean. Not here. Okay, there we go. So the multimeter is a nice tool for thermal expansion. It shows you exactly what is the value of your redstone conduits. It has some very nice functions, and it depends on what you're monitoring exactly. For example, if I try to monitor a conduit which is simply isn't connected to anything, it tells you what the network saturation is, and what that means. Every every redstone conduit in the connected network can basically kind of act as a small battery on its own, and basically tells you that 10% of the possible capacity of all this network is now being taken. Now, what you would expect, since most of those machines are now turned off, I'm not using any B machines, and I'm not using anything, you would expect this to be 100%. This is pretty much where the question starts happening. And by the way, there is also this thing, which tells you when you connect it to a blue cable, to a blue conduit, it tells you how much energy was placed into that connected block in the amount you checked it. Now, the tier 3 machines of extra Bs do consume a little bit of energy. If you actually look at them, you can actually see them. You can see the number fluctuating every so often. Now, you just saw it. It's a very little amount. So this is again not something I would expect, since I have those 8 blue electric engines. I wouldn't have expected this to be empty completely. So I started looking around, and again, all those batteries are empty, and I don't really see why. So I started looking around, and actually started looking at what's connected to my wireless network. So I have 4 outputs from my wireless network, and this is when I realized that this might be the problem. So if I came here and actually turned it off, telling it to require a redstone signal to actually be working, and now I monitor this, now the saturation rises up. Now it goes up to 100%. And those batteries will start to actually fill up. That's the most obvious thing ever. So there is a problem here. So I turned it off, and I decided to start looking around. And then again, when I turn it off and it starts sending energy again through the tesseract, once all the batteries are empty, the saturation will start going down. It does take some time, but eventually it does happen. It should happen. Yeah, there you go. It starts going down. So why is that happening? So I started looking around at what's connected to this energy tesseract. So there is this one here, which is connected to my specialty alveoli, but it's not doing anything because it's turned off. You can see that all of those, the network saturation is 0 because it's not requesting anything. Those conduits are turned to blue, so they don't extract any energy. I've got this one right here, which is indeed connected to a rolling machine and 2 rolling machines and this carpenter. But after a little bit some of testing, I then realized that yes, this one is also on 100% saturation, and those machines don't actually consume too much. This machine barely consume anything because it waits for creosote oil, and those rolling machines also barely request anything because they're full. They don't request energy when they don't do any work. So then I checked my energy tesseract in my house. Again, disconnected to all those machines. Maybe maybe the thermionic fabricator is kind of consuming a little bit, and you can see it does consume. It consumes 6 microjoules per tick, but it's still no possible way, there is no possible way that this is what killing my network. Then I realized that there is one last tesseract I forgot about, which is this one right here. This tesseract is powering all those different specialty fans and heaters, and for some odd reason, I don't know if this is intended or not, but if you look at them, they consume 25 microjoules per tick, and this is one. Here is another one right there. This is again 25, and another one right here, 25. And the easiest way to show that this is indeed the problem, if I again turn off this tesseract and come here again, you'll not be able to see the saturation indeed goes up again. So for some reason, I don't know if it's intended or not, but those blocks consume a crazy amount of energy that I really had no idea this was the case, because that's kind of insane. So what I'm going to do, actually all this explanation took a lot more than I thought. What I'm going to do for the time being is turn off those 3 alveoles, because they're basically killing all my storage network, and this is kind of crazy, mainly because if I'm going to start integrating auto-crafting recipe for energy tesseracts, if I don't have a large buffer of energy available, this is kind of not going to work properly. So I'm going to turn off those alveoles, and I'm going to look into splicing into them the tolerance genes so they can work without those heaters and fans. I don't know why those fans and heaters consume so much energy. I mean, maybe it's something by configuration, or maybe something by intention. I don't know, but it's kind of too much in my opinion. So I'm gonna turn them off, and we'll see how that turns out to be. Okay, so looking at what potentially I can use for my serums, because again, I'm going to need to inject tolerances to all of them. In terms of temperature, I've got both temperature up and down is the best one for temperature, and for humidity, the best one I've got is humidity, only one tolerance. Now, I was looking through my bees, and I think the best one I've came up with, I may have missed something, I didn't go thoroughly through all of them. Rocky bees, or rocky princesses, seems to be the ideal bee to extract from, because they have both, there you go, they got humid tolerance too, also temperature, but temperature I've already got. Basically, so with using the rocky drones, I just extracted also tolerance towards humidity. So now I'm going to start upgrading it and injecting it. You can see already I've taken out my Aqua Princess and Aqua Drone. This is something I've learned with the fertility, and something I didn't know when I first tried to implement tolerances to my thermic bees. You may remember that when I first tried to implement tolerance toward my thermic bees, I only did that to the queen, and then back then I didn't realize that you have to do it both to your princess and to your drone for the actual thing to stick. So yeah, this is why I'm doing this again, and while dealing with the fertility thingy with my Viz bees, then I realized that this is how you should do it. So I'm gonna wait until this one fully upgrades. In the meantime, I can also actually apply the temperature tolerance. Some of them might actually already have it, but let's just go ahead and apply to all of them just in case. And at the moment it's simply pretty much a waiting game to wait for the humidity tolerance to go up. Actually, while waiting for my bees to inoculate and everything, you can quickly see here that in the previous episode where I set up all my sheep farm regulators, this is pretty much exactly what I intended for to happen. So I've got a lot of gray wool, and all that gray wool kind of got stocked up, and now the internal buffer, the kind of hidden internal buffer of the regulator, is now trying to push something, but it cannot do it. So it sends out this redstone signal, which then again locks the timer, basically turning off the entire farm. This is how it should work. This is why I planned for it to work when I did this a little bit. Okay, so finally my Solemn Princesses also died, so I can officially turn off this energy tesseract and start applying both humidity and temperature tolerances to my bees. I already started doing with the temperature, now the humidity, and hopefully I think tolerance to both to humidity and to temperature for all of those bees pretty much should be enough to be still operational without any help from any heaters or fans. More importantly, now I will be able to stop kind of wasting Minecraft joules all the time, although ironically right now I'm using all of it in here because I'm using all the extra reserves in inoculating and all of that, but when that's done it will be better. Okay, so mainly what I wanted to do this episode I got done, which is the upgrades to my new HV solar array factory. This is pretty much almost completed, 7 minutes left, so pretty much in the next episode, whether I'd like it or not, it will be ready. I didn't have enough time to get auto crafting of tesseracts done, but I really want to do this, and it will happen probably before I start mining with this new cart. I probably will look into my options with mining with this new cart. Originally I thought about mining in the nether, but then I found this new page, this new crystal formation page. Where is it? Yeah, something here, found some crystal formation pages, and it's actually kind of interesting to maybe use it. I don't know if I don't think I have glowstone yet though. Glowstone pretty much a very precious material that I could use if I had found it. Anyway, there's still a couple of options on what I can actually do with the mining cart. Still I haven't figured it out, but we'll see what actually turns out. In the meantime, off screen in between the episodes, I'm gonna make sure that those B processes ends and I can actually start using energy properly without being all of it dumped into those fans and heaters. So anyway, as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.